The camera opens with the warm glow of an autumn sunset spreading across Ravenwood, a small town tucked between endless wheat fields and dark woods. The dirt roads glisten faintly with dust kicked up by horse-drawn wagons. Wooden houses line the streets, their paint faded but proud, with chimneys coughing smoke into the amber sky. At the far end of the street, a church steeple rises above the rooftops, its bell tolling faintly, echoing through the valley. The townsfolk move slowly through the streets. Men in suspenders and hats tip their caps as they pass neighbors. Women in long floral dresses carry baskets, whispering softly about the coming harvest. Children chase each other through the mud, their laughter carrying in the air. Yet, beneath the ordinary, there is a strange tension. Faces seem careful, smiles rehearsed, and every pair of eyes, no matter how cheerful, flicks nervously toward the edge of the dark forest beyond the wheat fields. The narrator's voice cuts through. Ravenwood, 1924. A town built on faith and harvest, but behind every smile lies a secret. Behind every prayer, a fear. The wind whistles down the dirt road, scattering dry leaves. The shadows of the forest stretch long across the town, as if reaching for it. Fade to black, the golden light of the setting sun falls across a vast field of tall wheat swaying in the breeze. There stands Ethan Walker, 28 years old, tall and broad-shouldered. His clothes are simple denim overalls over a white shirt, sleeves rolled to the elbow, his hands calloused from farm work. His jaw is set, his brow furrowed. He leans against the worn handle of a scythe, staring not at his harvest, but at the tree line beyond the fields, the dark woods. His blue eyes narrow, filled with unease. A gust of wind bends the wheat, and for a moment the sound seems like whispers in the stalks. Ethan grips the scythe tighter. From behind him, a neighbor calls out, "Neighbor, Walker, you'll work yourself to the bone before winter." Ethan forces a faint smile and nods, but his eyes drift back to the forest dot. The narrator speaks. Ethan Walker Strong, stubborn and burdened. The land fed him, but the land also cursed him. Thunder rumbles faintly in the distance, though the sky above remains clear. Night approaches. The camera moves into the thick woods beyond Ravenwood. Trees twist unnaturally, their branches like clawed hands. Mist curls low to the ground, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Every sound is amplified, the crack of a branch, the whisper of leaves. Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howls, its cry unnervingly long dot as the camera drifts deeper. Faint silhouettes flicker in the mist. At first, they seem like shadows, tricks of the fog. But then, eyes too at a time glow faintly from this darkness. Watching, the narrator. The woods were older than the town, older than the church. Some said older than God's hand itself. And within them, something waited. The screen lingers on the shadows. Then dash silence dot cut to black. A porch creaks softly under the weight of a swing. There sits Clara Hayes, 24, radiant yet humble. Her long brown hair falls in loose curls, catching the fading sunlight. She wears a simple floral dress, her bare feet. Brushing against the wooden boards dot in her lap rests a leather-bound book. She is not reading it. Her gaze is distant, lost in thought, her lips curved in a soft, secret smile. The autumn breeze lifts her hair. Behind her, her father's voice calls from inside the house, but she does not answer. Instead, she looks toward the horizon, toward the wheat fields, and beyond them, the forest. She whispers softly, as though speaking to herself, "Clara, why do you always watch the trees, Ethan Walker?" Her voice is warm, but tinged with worry. The camera pulls back to show the empty road before her house, stretching toward the distant town. Under the great, sprawling branches of an ancient oak tree, the setting sun paints the sky in deep oranges. and purples. Ethan stands there, hat in hand, shifting uncomfortably, his rugged form at odds with his awkwardness. Clara approaches slowly, her floral dress brushing against the grass. She smiles, soft and knowing. Clara, you're a hard man to find when you want to be. Ethan, nervously, fumbling with his hat. Work keeps me. There is a pause, heavy yet gentle. The wind stirs the leaves overhead, and the world seems to quiet around them. Ethan finally looks at her, his eyes softening. Ethan, the trees, they've been restless. Feels like they're waiting for something. Clara's smile falters. She steps closer, searching his eyes. Clara, or maybe it's you who's waiting. The moment lingers, an unspoken bond forming in the fading light, the flicker of firelight. Smoke curls upward in a small hut at the edge of town. An elderly, Native American woman sits cross-legged, her face a map of deep wrinkles, her eyes sharp as embers. She wears a hand-woven shawl, patterns of her people sewn into the threads. Before her sits Ethan, uneasy but respectful. The woman lifts a bony finger, pointing directly at him. Elder, the blood remembers. The curse does not forget. You carry it, boy. Whether you run or whether you fight, it follows. Ethan's jaw tightens. His fists clench. Ethan, I never asked for this. The woman leans closer, her voice low and trembling with power. Elder, no one asks the shadow to follow them, yet it does. And when the wind turns black, you will stand before it. The fire pops, sending sparks upward. Ethan rises abruptly, his face pale, his chest heavy with fear. The morning light falls gray over the general store. A group of villagers stands outside, whispering, their eyes flicking toward Ethan as he passes. Villager 1, that boy's no good. Mark my words, he's cursed. Villager 2, it's his family. Bad blood, his father saw things, died mad. Villager 3, lowering her voice, and now the woods are stirring again. Ethan ignores them, though his jaw tightens. Clara, walking from the opposite direction, catches his eye. Their gaze meets for a moment, but Clara looks away, troubled by the growing distance between the townsfolk and the man she is drawn to. The town square glows with lantern light. Strings of colored banners flutter in the breeze, tied between wooden posts. Stacks of hay and barrels of cider fill the corners, and long wooden tables overflow with bread, pies, and roasted corn. The sound of fiddles and tambourines fills the air as townsfolk dance in circles, their laughter masking the unease that never quite leaves Ravenwood. Ethan stands at the edge of the crowd, watching. Clara approaches, her eyes alight with joy, her floral dress swaying as she walks. Clara, you hide in the shadows, Ethan. Won't you dance? He shakes his head, but a faint smile tugs at his lips. Clara pulls at his hand anyway, tugging him into the circle. The fiddler's bow screeches, and the crowd stomps and claps. Ethan moves stiffly at first, awkward and self-conscious, but Clara's laughter loosens him. For the first time in years, he almost forgets the weight on his shoulders. But then, gust of wind blows through the square. The lanterns flicker. The fiddler's tune falters for a brief instant. Ethan's gaze snaps toward the tree line beyond the town, where the shadows seem to ripple unnaturally. The joy in his eyes fades. Clara sees it too, and for a moment her smile falters. Narrator. Even in celebration, the curse lingered, like a shadow at the edge of every light. Storm clouds boil overhead as Ethan climbs the hill overlooking Ravenwood. At the summit stands the old Victorian mansion, rotting and broken. Its windows gape like hollow eyes, and vines crawl up its sagging walls. The door groans as Ethan pushes it open. Dust swirls in the faint light. The air smells of rot and mildew. He steps into the grand hall, where a shattered chandelier lies. Across the cracked wooden floor, every sound echoes, the creak of his boots, the distant roll of thunder. He lifts his lantern higher, revealing scratches carved into the walls. Words, symbols, some too deep and jagged to be written by human hands. Suddenly, a door slams upstairs. Ethan freezes, breath shallow. His lantern flickers. Slowly, he ascends. The staircase, each step groaning beneath him. At the end of the hall, he finds a mirror cracked down the center. For a moment, his reflection wavers, not following his movements, but staring back at him with hollow, glowing eyes. Ethan staggers. Back, heart-pounding. Narrator. The mansion had stood empty for decades. But some places are never truly abandoned. Inside his barn, rain patters against the tin roof. A dim lantern casts shadows on the rough wooden walls. Ethan sits alone on a bale of hay, his face pale and lined with exhaustion. His hands tremble as he holds a small, folded letter, his father's handwriting scrawled across the page. The words are blurred by sweat and old tears, but fragments remain. The curse is ours. The blood, the woods call to us. Ethan presses the paper to his forehead, his breath ragged. Ethan whispering, "Why me? Why again?" His fist slams against the wall, rattling the lantern. The shadows stretch and shiver as if alive. Ethan buries his face in his hands. Narrator. He carried his father's madness like a scar, a secret he could not share, a burden he could not escape. The rain outside intensifies, hammering the roof. Somewhere beyond, in the distance of the forest, a low moan rises with the wind. Candlelight flickers in Clara's bedroom. She sits on the edge of her wooden bed, her dress wrinkled from the long night. Tears glisten on her cheeks as she clutches her rosary, her knuckles white. Clara, whispering, "Lord? Is he damned, or am I blind?" The lace curtains sway with the storm outside, shadows crawling across the walls. She looks toward the small framed photograph on her knitstand, Ethan standing beside her at last year's harvest festival. He was smiling then. Before the woods grew restless. Her tears fall harder. She bows her head, torn between love and fear. Narrator. For love is a choice. And in Ravenwood, that choice came with a price. Moonlight pierces through the canopy as Ethan follows a narrow path deep into the forest. Mist blankets the ground, curling around his boots. His lantern glows faintly, but the woods seem to swallow its light. Ahead, the trees open into a small clearing. Carved stones rise from the earth, ancient and weathered. Strange runes glow faintly across their surfaces, pulsing like a heartbeat. Ethan steps closer, his breath fogging in the cold air. The symbols whisper to him, not in words, but in sounds like voices carried on the wind. He kneels, tracing one with his hand. Instantly, the ground trembles. The glow intensifies. Disembodied voice whispering, blood, debt, shadow. Ethan jerks back, heart racing. He stumbles as the mist thickens, swallowing the clearing until only the glow remains. Narrator. The stones remembered. The curse had been written long before Ethan Walker drew breath, and now it stirred. The sky blackens with storm clouds. Thunder roars as the townsfolk rush through the muddy streets. Horses rear and neigh in terror. Wagons topple. Children scream as parents drag them indoors. Lanterns swing violently in the wind, casting frantic shadows. The church bell tolls, not in celebration, but in alarm. Villager 1. It's the woods. Villager 2. The curse has woken. Ethan pushes through the chaos, his boots sinking in the mud. People shrink away from him, muttering, glaring. One man spits at his feet. Villager 3, shouting, "This is your doing, Walker. You've brought it back." Clara rushes toward him, grabbing his arm. Clara, pleading, "Ethan, tell me it isn't true. but Ethan cannot answer. His silence is enough. Clara's face crumples with fear and heartbreak. Narrator. When fear takes root, it does not need truth. Only a name to blame. Lightning splits the sky, illuminating the terrified faces of Ravenwood. The storm rages by the river. Ethan stands shirtless at the water's edge, his muscular form illuminated by moonlight breaking through the clouds. Water mist rises around him, wrapping his silhouette in an otherworldly glow. His reflection stares back at him, fractured in the rippling current. He clenches his fists, jaw tight, eyes burning with determination. Ethan, to himself. If it's me it wants, then it will have me. But not her, not Clara. He steps into the river, letting the cold water wash over him, baptizing him in resolve. Thunder booms overhead, but he does not flinch. The woods writhe under the storm's fury. Trees bend and groan, roots tearing from the soil. Mist thickens into a suffocating wall as dark figures emerge from the shadows. They are not fully humanoid shapes, cloaked in darkness. There, limbs long, their eyes glowing like embers in the night. They drift, not walk, their forms shifting like smoke caught in the wind. Ethan grips the axe in his hand, breath sharp in his chest. His knuckles whiten around the handle. The air grows colder with each step the spirits take. Whispers claw at his mind, words twisting, voices overlapping. Voices whispering. Walker, blood, debt unpaid. Ethan raises the axe, but his body trembles not from fear, but from the weight of destiny. The curse no longer slept in shadows. It had risen, and it had come for Ethan Walker. Rain lashes the open field. Clara runs, her dress heavy with water, her hair plastered to her face. Tears mix with the storm as she searches for him. Through the rain she sees him, Ethan, standing before the spirits at the edge of the woods. His silhouette glows faintly with an unnatural light. Clara shouting, "Ethan!" He turns, his face pale, eyes dark with resignation. Ethan, yelling over storm, "Go back. You must not be here." But Clara doesn't stop. She pushes forward, slipping in the mud, clawing her way toward him. Clara pleading, "No, not alone. If you face them, I face them with you." The storm rages harder, as though the curse itself recoils at her defiance. In Ravenwood, love was no shield, but it was the one weapon the curse had never faced. The woods erupt in a blaze of unnatural light. Ethan and Clara stand within an ancient stone circle, the glowing runes pulsing like fire beneath their feet. Lightning tears across the sky, striking the stones. The air vibrates with power as the spirits close in, their forms swirling like a storm of shadows. Ethan drops to his knees, hands pressed to the ground. The runes flare brighter, responding to his bloodline. The curse recognizes him. Ethan shouting, "Take me, end this with me." The shadows scream, voices layered with rage and hunger. The ground shakes as if the earth itself resists. Clara kneels beside him, clutching his face, tears pouring freely. Clara, desperate, "If you go, I go with you. My soul is yours, Ethan, always." Their hands clasp. The runes blaze white-hot, casting the woods in blinding light. The ritual demanded blood, of love offered more. Rain pours down in sheets. Ethan holds Clara's face in his hands. Their foreheads pressed together, both trembling, both crying. Between them, the supernatural glow surges brighter, pulsing, like a heartbeat. Ethan, whispering, "I was born cursed, but I die blessed, because I had you." Clara's sobs shake her shoulders, but she does not let go. Clara, whispering, "Then we go together." Their lips meet in a final kiss, tender, desperate, eternal. The runes explode with light. A shock wave ripples through the forest, scattering the spirits like ash in the wind. Their screams echo, then vanish. The storm breaks, the woods fall silent. When the light fades, Ethan and Clara lie still within the stone circle, their hands entwined. Peace at last. Some curses end not with fire, nor with fury, but with love willing to burn itself out for the light of another. Dawn breaks over. Ravenwood. Golden light spills across the town as the mist lifts, revealing a world washed clean by the storm dot. The townsfolk emerge cautiously into the streets. One by one, their faces brighten. Children laugh, horses calm, and voices rise in joy. The church. Bells toll, not in warning, but in celebration. Villager, shouting, "The curse is gone." Cheering erupts as people embrace, weeping with relief. The dark mist that once clung to the forest fades into nothingness. But on the hill, at the edge of the woods, the stone circle remains. The people know what was given there, even if they cannot see it. Ravenwood was free. But freedom is never without its price. Years later, a fire crackles in the hearth of a small wooden cabin. An elderly storyteller sits in a rocking chair, shadows flickering across his weathered face. Before him, a group of children huddle on the rug, eyes wide, listening. Storyteller, softly. And so, Ethan Walker and Clara Hayes gave all they had, so that Ravenwood might live. Their love was stronger than the curse, stronger than death itself. The children whisper to one another, glancing at the dark window beyond the fireht. Child, whispering, "Do you think the spirits are gone forever?" The storyteller gazes into the flames, his voice heavy with both sorrow and hope. Storyteller, a curse never truly dies, child, but neither does love, and it is love that keeps the shadows at bay. The fire crackles. The children lean closer, their imaginations aflame.